Convene our city council meeting and ask you to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. In the roll.
Elzak.
Here.
Gustafson.
Here.
Kenny. Legansky.
Here.
Shower.
Here.
Stompanato.
Here.
Sullivan. 5 present and 2 absent.
We have a quorum that takes us to questions and comments and announcements of a general nature. This is for any items that the public would like to present to the council that is not on our agenda or is on our agenda. There being none, we move to the approval of the minutes. We have several sets of minutes tonight, including Administrative Finance Committee of the Whole. The first item is the City Council minutes for February 18, 2025. I ask for a motion to approve. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Stompanato. Any questions regarding those minutes? If none, the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Elzak.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
Those minutes have been approved. We'll now be taking items B and C, the approval of the Administrative Finance Committee of the Whole for February 19th and for February 26th, 2025. Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Belzak. Again, any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Elzak.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
Those minutes have been approved. Finally, we have our City Council minutes for March 3rd, 2025. Motion to approve. Alderman Gustafson, second by Alderman Stompanato. Any questions or comments? None, the roll.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
And those minutes have been approved. We move on to receiving the communications. Do any of the aldermen have communication they'd like to share? Alderman Shower.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a phone call, or actually update from a gentleman that lives at 8413 Captain's Lane. His name's Ralph Cozy. Basically, he's been living here for about a year, just really loves the city. He moved from Chicago, loves being in DuPage County, but really loves Darien. His only question and concern is near that area, it's very dark at Hinswood as well as the frontage road entrance. And he's like, if anything can be done to turn around to get it a little bit brighter, that'd be great. And it's funny because I drive down there every day, 3, 4, 5 times a day, and never really realize how dark it is. But I sat down with Dan tonight, and we're going to look into seeing if we can get a street light in that area to brighten it up a little bit. Especially with the fact that a lot of people are walking through the back ways all the way down to Q Bar and in that area towards the little strip mall. So we're going to see what we can do. So.
Thank you. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay, that takes us to the mayor's report. Tonight, I'm pleased to offer you to consider a motion to approve the appointment of Valerie Kasich to our environmental committee. As many of you know, Val was our Citizen of the Year last year. She's a great contributor to our city, and she'd like to continue her service to the city with an appointment on our environmental committee. I'd like to have a motion to approve. Alderman Stompanato, seconded by Alderman Legansky. Any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Sorry. Shower.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
Bill, you've been approved. Would you like to come forward, please?
Up here.
All the way up.
You're doing great, Mouse. You're doing great.
We don't
close
bite-
enough.
We don't bite Bill.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Valerie Kasich,
Excuse me, not 1 minute. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Environmental Committee
Environmental Committee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Could you sign this card, please? And then this is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Val.
Great, thank you.
It was also my pleasure to recommend to you the reappointment of former city treasurer John Breslin to the Police Pension Board. Motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, seconded by Alderman Shower. Any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
John, you've been approved. You want to come forward, please?
Seriously, you had 2 landslides tonight.
Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, John Breslin,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Police Pension Board
Police Pension Board
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, and you do not need to sign anything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Can I hit everybody? Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, John.
Whoa, sorry. Yeah, see you later.
It's always nice when you get people who want to serve, continue to serve the city. All right. Tonight we have an introduction and presentation of Metronet Fiber. Provider Dan Gombach's going to give us a brief synopsis, and then we're going to have a speaker from Metronet.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and the residents at home. Well, for those of you that don't know yet, fiber is the new and up-and-coming thing. What is fiber cable? Fiber cable is different than what you currently have, whether it's coaxial. It is coaxial, and typically, the 2 providers that are in town right now are AT&T as well as Comcast. Metronet, who's here this evening, will be presenting shortly, is the new fiber optic cable. Now, I want to pretense this by the same time, and not to take away your glory, there's another provider that will be coming to the city council in the next 4 weeks. Metronet is going to be the company that will be going through your backyards, and it's referred to as an easement in all backyards, or I should say 99% of your backyards either have a 5, a 10, or even a 20-foot easement. These companies do have the opportunity through the FCC and through law cases, they have the right to be in the backyards. They'll be doing what's referred to as a boring operation. In other words, they'll be using a machine that drills a hole under the ground and it's guided through a radio, if you want to say, and it pops back out to where it's supposed to be, and what they'll be installing is these flower pots. But again, I don't want to take away their thunder. So Ben, Scott, this is Ben Rusnick. He's the VP of the New Market Development. And then Scott Carl, who has personally assured me that he's going to be making sure that restoration is to the top of the line here. So without further ado, Ben, Scott, come on up here. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. How are you guys tonight? Thank you for giving us a few moments to talk to you a little bit tonight, tell you a little bit more about Metronet, who we are, what our construction will look like. I'm going to go through a presentation, and then Scott and I will answer any and all questions that you guys have, and we're looking forward to those. So I have to say, as I get logged in here, this is kind of partial to me because I drove by this, or rode by this location as a kid all the time, because I used to live off of Cumner Road, just down the road, and would ride my bike to Brookhaven. So being out here has been a lot of fun to get to see the whole area where I grew up just before high school, and ended up leaving to go a little bit farther west in Illinois. So, all right. That didn't pull. Perfect. So my name is Ben Ruzick. As Dan said, I'm the VP of New Market Development. So my role is to help guide as we come into new cities. Scott is our public works director. He is our project manager, or what we would call our PD typically. So I'm going to start with a little bit about Metronet and kind of go through this. So within Metronet, we were started back in 2005. When we were started, the owners of our company, John Sinelli and Al Sinelli, were given the opportunity to use grant money to build a town in Indiana that wouldn't get fiber for a long time, a small community called Greencastle, Indiana. When they got done with the project, found the study information, they were so excited about what they did for that community that they said, hey, this is what we want to do the rest of our lives. And so John and Al created Metronet. Metronet launched fully at that point in Indiana. Fast forward till now, and now Metronet is the largest independently owned 100% fiber to the home and business company in the States. Right now we're offering fiber optic internet and home phone. We started out with TV originally, and within a few years of our operation growing, we decided that wasn't a great fit. The costs for us were higher as we tried to then turn them around, and we didn't make any money on it. We turned around it at no profit because we wanted to be able to provide a service for residents who wanted TV. What happened is streaming came in, and as streaming came in, they realized that, wow, residents could utilize the power of our fiber and use that to then stream with Netflix, and then all of a sudden came your live TV shows. And so a lot of people started switching to that. At that point, it allowed Metronet to exit that industry of regular broadcast television, move into streaming, which saved residents money, and then on top of it, allowed us to keep our pricing the exact same because we didn't have to eat all those extra costs from television programming. Since I started almost 9 years ago now, we have not adjusted our prices up at all. And before that, Metronet had not raised its prices since 2005 either. It's our goal, it's our passion, is to provide a great service at a great price. Right now, currently, we're in 300 plus communities in 19 different states. We're passing 200 homes and businesses across those states, and we're excited on just what we're seeing in this future. After COVID, it really opened everybody's eyes in this country to the lack of infrastructure that we had, especially as it relates to fiber. And so, as you can imagine, a lot more communities and residents began speaking out and asking for that type of network. I'm happy that we're back in Illinois and growing again. When we came into Illinois, it was the second state we launched. And we started in the Romeoville, Plainfield area, kind of grew along the river all the way up towards South Elgin. Now, when we talk about Metronet as another provider in town, fiber is quite a bit different, as Dan talked about. With fiber, we talk about quality of life. We talk about the fact that now there's so many people that get to work from home or work part-time from home. We have gamers who make a huge living playing video games, and so having this type of infrastructure for them is super important. But then we get into the regular things in our lives. I'm sure there's a good amount of people listening or here that either have a smart thermostat or have smart cameras in their homes, outside their homes to watch their properties. All of that is using data. And the more and more that we go through this life, we're realizing the larger need, the more things that we can do. Now you're getting robotic lawnmowers that are connected to our Wi-Fi's. So as it grows, it moves into the future proof. And the fact that once we put these lines in the ground, we don't have to do anything with them. They don't have to be updated. There's no additional electrical power sources that we need or boosters that we need to replace. Once we place, or Scott places that conduit in the fiber in the ground, it doesn't need to be touched unless somebody breaks it, or there's a project in town that we need to move the fiber lines because of a street widening program or something like that. And that's an absolutely fantastic thing for the community because once we get in, we don't have to disturb the ground anymore. Also on the future piece, I thought this was really interesting. My son asked me last week, he said, well, Dad, you talked future-proof on your fiber stuff. He's like, how much can you put through fiber right now? And I'm like, they don't have an answer for that. There isn't. And he goes, yeah, but what's the fastest that's ever been done? And I'm like, It's a good question. I don't know. Well, went and looked, and Japan last year ran a test in which they hit 400 terabytes per second through fiber lines, and it was traditional fiber lines that we're placing in the ground right now. That is absolutely amazing when you think about the fact right now we'll be 5 gigs for residents and 10 gig for the commercial. So really interesting when you think about it as a future proof. It really is. There's nothing faster than light right now, and that's what everything in fiber operates on. I put this in here. I'll try not to talk too much. Dan had put it, I believe, in the packet as well. If you were just to Google the Colorado Group Economics benefits of fiber deployment, it's the first study that's been released since 2015, I believe, with the University of Colorado. And this study explored what are the economic benefits, right, when you actually bring fiber in town. It is a really neat read. I won't bore you with all the stuff I geeked out on. But when you look at it, there's a few things I thought was really interesting. One is we produce a much smaller carbon footprint. And why? Because there's 2 power sources, that's it. One is the back end where all of our units held, and the other end is the front end where our customers are using service. Those are the 2 power sources. Everything else in the ground is all passive. It's just light. It's originating out of the back end, ends into the end user, that being a customer or a business itself. The other piece I put in here, which my entire team has been very careful with, is the raise in home values based on fiber hitting the doorstep. This study examined the comparison from back in 2015 when it was 3.5% increase in home value when fiber hit the doorstep to what happens when there's regular coax providers that have high-speed internet, that it doesn't matter the speed that they're producing, but what happens still then when fiber comes to the doorstep and now that COVID's done and over and here we go, how much of our society's changed? In that study, they found that 14 to 17% home value increases is what was on average that they found from urban to non-urban areas. What I can tell you is somewhere between that 3.5% and their 17%. I think it's really hard to define that, but what it does say is how important fiber has become. Realtors that we get to talk to are telling us that it's in their top 3 questions that most people ask them. What is their internet? Do you have any high-speed internet like fiber providers? I just am leaving that and I'd love to have that. So the study itself is a really neat study. If you have some time, reading before bed, check it out. There's a lot of different things that they talk about in there that really add to the communities that fiber is brought to. Scott knows I can stand up here all day and talk all about Metronet, tell you the great things about us. This screen just talks about some of the national recognized things. Most recently was PC Magazine's rated us for the 2nd year in a row as the fastest internet provider in the country. There's a lot of other national groups out there on the 4 that I've got here. But on the left side is the ones I'm probably more passionate about. This is the city or residents voting on, hey, who's your best food place in town? Who's your best internet? And in any of the areas that we typically find that they're running those, some of those are in Bloomington, Normal. We've got the Quad Cities does one that is the best of readers, and then there's City View, which was Des Moines area. The most recent was Neighborhood Faves, and that one's kind of cool just because it hits just about every market. And as we've been rated on this, there aren't many that you can find that Metronet wasn't rated as the highest provider as far as service, reliability, and just how they're overall taken care of. Communication. So communication is a big deal for us. It's really at the core of what we do. Unfortunately, you guys got to see that a little too early. So please take my verbal apologies for it. We sent out a communication about it as well, but as Metronet grows, we're always looking at better ways, faster ways to communicate so that residents can know and understand what's going to come to them. In this case, this group came, they saw where Scott was at, thought he was farther than he was, and released communication. That group didn't tell us, and the way we found out was when Dan messaged me and said, what in the world is this? So we've since been able to learn from that. We've helped the team realize that they need to communicate with Scott before they do any type of updates or announcements. that we're coming out to a city. So now, with that being said, communication is key for us, and so we're looking forward to those going back out to residents. The first is a letter. The letter is a fantastic letter. It has a ton of information for residents, questions and answers, what they can expect during the process, kind of the 4 phases, if you will. Unfortunately, that one finds its way to the garbage the quickest because it looks like junk mail, right? It looks like advertisement or something, even though there is no advertisement within it. The second is a postcard. That's the top right. It's in white. It says construction underway. That's actually bright green when it comes out to the resident's home. Now we're getting closer. We're about 7-10 days at least out before we're going to begin construction. And then the third one is that little yard dart on the bottom left. It looks kind of like if you were to have your yard sprayed for weeds or weed control. It typically goes out near the mailboxes in the right-of-way, and that's where those will go. On each one of these communication pieces, it's going to have 2 things that are really important. One's a phone number to our US-based telephone tree. Our phone system, we're really proud of. You don't have to go through a million prompts. You go through a few questions that say, hey, are you looking for business? Are you looking for residential? And then are you looking for sales? Or are you looking for customer service of some form? At that point, they get a live person. That live person will help them through any questions that they might have or if they want to notify us of something. The second is our construction website. The construction website is built just for that. It's for construction only. There isn't sales pitches on it. There's none of that. It's just a place that residents can go and say, hey, Scott, we've got an irrigation system we want to let you know about. Or, hey, somebody was here. They put a small box in my yard that's flush, but I'm not sure that the restoration took. Can somebody come out and look at this and get it fixed? At that point, we've got 24 hours to respond to that customer in Metronet's guidance, right? So this is our guideline. If it doesn't go to the 24 hours and it goes past that, it escalates entirely up our tree all the way to the owners of our company because it's that important to us. We know that if we can respond to our residents and take care of them, right, we get rid of any concerns, questions, or problems that are arising. The fourth thing that we'll do is on the right-hand side is that yard sign. It's on an H-frame. Looks like during elections, what you might see for an election poster. Those will go up if there's a real good entrance, exit of a neighborhood. It just lets residents know, hey, we're working right now. If you have any questions, call us, email us, and it's got our contact information on it. And then those are pulled as we go so that they're not left there. Construction itself, as we talk about construction, the picture on here is Findlay, Ohio, and this is an example of how we digest into a town. So how Scott designs is based on these little quadrants. That way he knows exactly where he's guiding his team towards. Whether we're permitting in one quadrant or we're permitted as a whole city, we still operate within those individual quadrants so that we can make sure that everybody knows exactly where we're at and what we're doing. Now, as we're getting ready to begin the permitting, Scott and Dan's team will connect very closely to make sure that we are getting everything in the way that they want, that the work that's being done is being met with positive sight to the work being done. And then we're gonna end up doing street sheets. So every day we'll end up sending a street sheet out that says, hey, here's where Metronet crews are on. We're on Jones, Smith, and Jane Doe. That way, our fire, our police also are notified of this, however you guys want to be notified, so that if there is a run that has to go down a street, you know where our teams are, or heaven forbid a resident calls and says, hey, there's somebody in my backyard, we'd like someone to come out and take them away. It helps them know, hey, this looks like this is where Metronet may be, and then as they go out, they know there's a good chance that it's a Metronet associate, and we can walk through that conversation. And then last, we'll meet monthly with Dan's team and go over our product, the work that we've done for this last month, because everything's kind of in arrears. We'll look at what we've done, how we've done, any restoration concerns, questions, or maybe just feedback. Hey, when you guys are doing this, we need to actually get traffic control, or whatever it may be. We can learn from that, and then at that point continue to make sure that that build goes better and better every day. Our field crews, our teams in the street, we're a little different. We want everybody to know who we are. And we want them to know who we are because we don't want them having to reach out to the city, to reach out to Dan and his team, or the police, whoever, fill in the blank. We want them to know to come to us. And so all of our guys and girls will be in high-vis vests. They'll have on this gentleman, the orange shirt, he wears his armband on a sleeve. Some of them wear it in their chest pocket, but they'll all have their ID on them. If it's a contractor, then on their trucks will be magnets that say Metronet on them so that people know that it is a Metronet employee that's working on their property. While we're out there, we'll have typically one supervisor. I would say 3 crews is pretty common.
Yeah, that's what we're gearing up for. I think officially we're 1 for every 4 crews currently, but we're working.
And that's our own Metronet employee. On those crews, there's a supervisor as well. Our goal is to try to make sure there's much observance on everything that's happening on the properties as possible. Restoration, we all know that's probably everybody's biggest question is what is the restoration gonna look like? What can we expect? Well, we expect it to look as good or better when we leave. These pictures that are up here, I use these. It's one of our larger boxes. These are typically in our arteries. They're not on main, or they're on main roads. They're not within an easement. But this box I use because I had the picture from the start of the day to the end of the day. So the start of the day, they hand dug that box trench. They pulled the blue and orange pipe through, which is Metronet's conduit. Then they placed the structure, pulled the conduit into that structure. They set that box officially level, and then they, at that point, restored, which is the bottom. That is what we expect every time that our teams are out working. So they start, and then by the time they're done that day, they don't leave anything open, and everything's restored back to the way it should have been, or the best as we can do. Then at that point, heaven forbid, we have a rainstorm, which is coming, right? And it washes something out. At that point, residents can reach out to us, let us know, hey, you know what, rains came, or hey, we don't think that the team that was here did as good of a job as we thought they would do or what we'd like. We will come back out, Scott's team will be back out, look at the property, find out what they need, and then make the repairs as necessary. As I had mentioned before, 24 hours, that is our expectation for response to residents. So if they reach out, we know that if we can get them the same day that they put it in, that's even better. And if they had just put it in an hour ago and Scott's team's calling them, we know that's even better. And so we strive every day to make sure that we're at that level, or if we miss something, that we then kill them with care and attention. So post-construction, what does it look like when we're done? So on this slide, the top pictures, it's the round discs that are flush grade. I included the pedestal farm, the ones that sit above, because that's what most people are used to when a utility comes in. Because we operate on fiber, our fiber can operate underwater, can operate frozen. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be above ground, and it doesn't have to be shedding the weather. It doesn't, that stuff doesn't matter, which is nice because now it's flush grade. It's not nice, or we try to hide them behind the pedestal farms if we can. But again, if somebody doesn't like the boxes, they can put flower pots on them, they can put mulch on them. We've had somebody sod over them. It doesn't matter. They have locating pucks. We just let the resident know, hey, we just have to be able to get back to the box. That's all we need you to make sure you know. So if you do sod it, the guy understands we're going to come out and cut the sod out. If we flip it over, do our work, put the facade back down, and do our best to put it back the way it was. The round boxes on the top, those are now square. Correct.
Yes.
So better box, we found that they latch better, better control of the box itself to make sure it's not popping up. The bottom boxes, those longer ones, again, and all these boxes are rated for traffic, meaning that they can mow over them, they can use a riding mower over them. It does not matter, the boxes will hold up, so it's not a disruption for them. Last but not least, probably one of my favorite pieces is our commitment to the community. So once we're done constructing, once Scott's team's done with the primary work, we're going to be a part of the community. We're going to have local associates. We're going to have those that are going out and doing the installations. We'll have those that are doing any repairs that happen. We'll have a team called Special Projects, which is going to be here for the private communities, private properties that maybe didn't sign up with Metronet before Scott's team got done. And they're going to be able to come out and help those multi-dwelling units that want to decide to get Metronet, or if there's private HOAs, things like that we couldn't build originally. And then the other part's our local presence as far as how we want to be a part of the community. So any of the events in town, we want to take part. We want to help sponsor and be a part of those. We want to be in parades if we can, have the boom trucks and stuff in the parade. Whatever we can do to be a part of the community is what we want. Once we're done doing that, we know we're already supporting those great things you guys already do. we're gonna try to find additional things. One of the most recent things that just got done was Metronet Shamrock. It was over St. Patty's Day. We put a Facebook post up and said, hey, if you want to be entered into a drawing for one of our community development teams to come out and shamrock your front yard with a gift basket and some fun things for kids, please let us know. We drew 10 people in each of the communities, and then our team went out and then put on the baskets, put a little, you've been shamrocked by the Metronet Leprechaun, and added a bunch of fun little things for the kids and parents. So that is my presentation as far as who Metronet is and what we are about. I'd love to know what you guys have questions on.
Hey Ben, real quick, can you just tell boxes what size the flower, what we call the flower pots?
Yep.
And the bigger boxes and where they're gonna be placed, on property, so if you could run through that, what's gonna be 4 or 1?
Our smallest boxes that actually feed our customers are dispersed about every other house. If they're in the backyards, they can feed up to 4 residents on either side of our flower pot. They are 11 by 11 inches, approximately a foot deep and flush. All of our boxes now have step to close on them, so if they are left propped open for any reason whatsoever, you step on them, they latch. Every 12 residents gets fed by a terminal. Our terminal boxes are approximately 17 inches by right about 24 inches. They go about 18 inches deep into the ground. Those are tier 22 traffic rated lids. You could drive a tank over that thing, nothing is going to happen to it. And those will be predominantly within backyards. Some of those may be roadside when we can get them there. We like that because we don't have to bug people, but because of what they do, even once we're in them, if we're running a service drop potentially 2-3 yards down, we still have to be able to get in there and access those flower pots. We operate a bee box. It is a small handhold. We typically utilize those on 90-degree turns and access areas. Those are nearly 100% of the time roadside. That is as big as we're going to get really within the community. Our transport cables on some of the main roads, we do have a 30 by 24 box that is a medium handhold, and those are used primarily for breaks for our pulling crews that have to get out there and actually pull the fiber through there. We like to keep those no greater than about 500 feet apart from one another, just so that somebody isn't, that fiber's small, but it can get heavy if you're operating with a 10,000 foot reel of it. So that kind of breaks that up a little bit. And then our largest box, which you'll only see on our feeder ring path, and we will have some in Darien. On the right of way, maybe not so much. Most of that is county roadway through the city. Those are split lid tier 22 vaults. And those are approximately 36 inches by 30 inches. They are split down the middle, tier 22 traffic rated lids. You pull those up from each side, and that is where we put our main fiber that feeds into cities and into communities.
When are you planning on starting?
As soon as we can.
And what's the duration? Size?
About a year.
From the beginning then to
Yes.
something?
I estimate for us, how the city is broken up, I have 21 neighborhoods that are clearly spelled out within the city of Darien. For me, that is 1.5 to 2 per month, and we can absolutely build it.
So regarding that, if we have 21 neighborhoods, will you have a list of 1 through 21 so that we all represent different areas of Darien? So we know, oh, my neighborhood's 3, 7, and 5, and we have a time frame. We can, let our constituents know.
Yeah, our designs are done. I'm happy to put that map in whoever's hands may find it useful.
So,
Perhaps, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Dan, if you want to say
Perhaps what
something.
we could do is, I'm gonna forward you the ward map, and you guys can do an overlay with the schedules And this way, all the elected officials will have the opportunity to notify their residents, whatever way.
We can do that.
Make sure that. So let's say your mailers go out and on my block, 3 people want to do it. How, does every home in my neighborhood have to be affected because you're gonna have to run that cable somewhere through everybody's backyard just to service the 2 people in the middle of the block? I mean, it has to come from somewhere and tie into something that isn't, like you just can't drop it into everybody's spot. I mean, there's gotta be a way to, So-
That's where our flower pots come in, those 11 by 11 boxes that are in the backyards.
this is in everybody's backyards.
Not everybody, about every other backyard would have a flower pot to service up
Regardless
to
if they've got the service or not.
Yes,
They have to have it, because you need to tie it into something.
Yeah,
right? It isn't just gonna magically drop into somebody's house.
correct, but we won't run, just for clarification, if we have a terminal that feeds up to 12 customers, if customer number 12 orders our service, we're not gonna bury that through 6 to 12 backyards to get there. That's what the construction process does, that's what the flower pots are there for. Those service lines get pulled through the flower pots to their intended destination, and we are only above ground at the residents who ordered the service, and then those get buried to the home.
So, okay, I mean, I understand fiber, I mean, it's needed clearly. I mean, I'm not that apt with all this stuff like our kids are and everything like that. I know what they need, gamers and things like that. But like your competition, like AT&T, things like that, why aren't they doing the same thing with their existing lines that they have? I mean, if the infrastructure is already there, I mean, if this is so needed, why wouldn't they be going down the same route and just bringing the same line, fiber optic line, through their existing pipes that they've already have throughout the city? I mean, again, I can't believe this is so new that they're not gonna be doing the same thing. So why isn't your competition already doing this as well? I mean, listen, I love that you're a private company, I get it, you're growing, but why aren't these other companies like Xfinity or AT&T doing the same thing with existing infrastructure that's already in the city? With a lot less hassle, I would think, in terms of, because they've got the infrastructure in place already. So why aren't they, I mean, how have you built a better mousetrap than them?
Fiber's expensive. And so for them, already operating on a network that works, and in their mind, right, works just fine, they're not gonna spend the money to go and overbuild themselves. So Comcast or coax lines are operating on newer and newer DOCSIS systems, which has helped speed them up. It still falls prey, coax lines fall prey to the same technology issues that they've had. But again, it's extremely expensive. So for them to spend the money to go and redo all of their network, when it already functions and works and have a great customer base, for them, it's just not in their cost models and benefit model to go and do that. Now, sometimes when a Metronet comes into town, it can change the mindset on that. And so you might see some of that, where an AT&T especially might go and redo some of their network. You've seen that probably maybe in town a little bit, where AT&T's done little pockets, where especially like new developments, where they'll come in and bring their fiber, but they won't go and change out everything that they have. It all gets down to just cost and what it takes.
My question has to deal with, I have Xfinity phone, Xfinity internet, Xfinity TV with Netflix and all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's say I wanted, and I get the buffering and it's slow sometimes to go into Netflix, it's slow sometimes to go into Hulu. So I want to speed that up. You don't do television, you do internet, so you're gonna do my phone and you're gonna do my internet. I keep Xfinity for my TV, how does that work?
Or Hulu Live, or YouTube TV, there are a lot of different streaming options out there that actually do provide local news, things of that nature.
So the
Perhaps you could define the difference of a cable company and streaming.
Yes, sir.
I have no idea how to stream.
People have asked me that question already.
Yep, it's a good question. So for people that wanted to switch, we do have some that keep either their Comcast or Dish TV or something, and then utilize the power of our internet in home phones. in most cases, what we'll do is help educate those that are calling into us. We have a program that actually helps walk residents through live streaming services and help find them the one that fits their TV viewing the best. So with traditional cable that's coming over the coax lines that come into the house, or if it's dish, it's coming over satellite. With streaming, it's coming over the internet, but it's the similar or same service as what you're getting, if not better in some cases, than what you get on your coax. Now, coax has a lot of potential disruption, electromagnetic pulses, rain, thunderstorms, you name it, fill in the blank. You can have little problems here and there because of that. With fiber, it doesn't have that type of disruption. So not only do we not have that disruption, but when you're looking at streaming, they can actually bring 4K, they're looking at bringing up to 8K, just as easy or better than what you're getting over your coax line. So that's streaming. And so what we'll do when a resident calls us is find out if they do have TV and they're like, what do I do for TV? We'll help walk them through that. What channels do you watch? What are your favorite shows? Help us understand what you need and we'll find the service that fits you the best. And like Scott was talking about, there's Hulu Live, there's YouTube Live, there's Fubo Live TV, which used to be just sports, but now they've really broken into the market and they've got everything. Sling TV, there's people that have very small watching habits and they don't need a lot of live. So a Sling TV, it's $25 a month, maybe $30 a month, I think, and that's it. So they use our internet, they've got $30 a month and they're saving hundreds of dollars a month. And so that's where we'll try to help educate, try to help support, and make it as easy as possible. We can also do white glove treatments where our fiber technicians will actually help the resident in home who just switched. They decide that they want to take us up on that thought and they want to use, Sling TV. As long as they have their account, we'll help them load their Roku stick or Fire Stick that they need to bring that up. We'll teach them how to use it, and then we'll literally let them ask us any question they want to ask us.
How do you bring it into the house? Is there a router? Do you have to rewire the whole house? How do you do that?
Yeah, good question. So like Scott said, those flower pots are going to be right there so we can service a home quick and easy. So there'll be a small line that runs up to their home. We'll bring it in where most of their other utilities are already coming into the house. That line is fiber. It's going to be fiber all the way into the home, which means we do not have a modem. We have what's called an ONT, or an optical network terminal. That optical network terminal is going to take the fiber line. It's going to plug into that. From there, you're going to take a Cat 6 line, and that plugs into a router. Metronet provides both the ONT and the first router free of charge. We don't charge rental fees. We do it as part of our business model and the business structure that we offer.
But once it's in your house, though, you have to take it somewhere to put the router.
Yeah,
in the
so,
house, right?
yep,
I
so.
mean, it isn't just coming to your house. You still have to get it to a central room where or
Yes, sir.
and
So.
from there, it's all wireless from there throughout your house.
So some people, when we come in, they've got switches in their basement. We'll go straight to their switch so that they've got their switch that runs lines throughout their house. We've got others who are like, I don't know what to do. I just know I need internet. At that point, we'll just ask them where do they want it. And then we'll do everything we can to put it exactly in that location.
And could you have internet and not phone?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. You do not have to bundle with us. We offer deals on both products separate so that people can pick what they care about and what they really want.
To double back on that, we're a single line into the home. Unlike coax that may require a splitter in an attic or a crawl space or a basement, branched off through a single point, throughout walls, throughout the entire home. We're a single fiber line from outside to inside the home. So typically that conversation from our technicians to the homeowner would be, I prefer to set this up someplace central. Do you have any place like that? Or if they don't, because central may be the kitchen, which is probably not where you want an ONT and a router. But right off of that may be the primary TV where they would want that set up with an existing cable line that may already be there. And our technician would follow it up right next to it and run our fiber right through the wall, coexisting with an outlet that already exists.
Well, you have a telephone line, let's say you start making the installation and people have questions regarding service like I'm asking tonight. you have somewhere where they could call or someone who would provide that information to them? How's it gonna look in my house? Where you're gonna bring it in, that type of thing?
Absolutely. So we'll have a few different options. One, they can always call us. They can ask us any question that they want. They can sign up for service with us as well if they like the answers they get. We have door-to-door teams that if they would like someone to come to their house and just answer questions, to be able to sit down face-to-face and have a good conversation, be educated. They can also kind of help guide them on, hey, here's ideally what I would think you're gonna expect. They're probably gonna bring it here, but if you want it in a different spot, all you gotta do is talk to our guys. Our guys and girls that come and do the installations are gonna be very attentive to the resident. They wanna know, where do you want it in your house? How do you want the box to come in, right? Because we've gotta bring that fiber line into your house, which means they're not gonna just start drilling holes. I'm gonna say, hey, we're gonna put this box here where the rest of the utilities are normally, but is that where you want it? Or would you like it somewhere else? Yeah, actually, you know what, we've got bushes over here. Can you put it behind those bushes? Yeah, absolutely. So that team from all sides is gonna be there to support, answer questions, walk people through, as long as it takes to answer their questions.
As you're going through easements, it's nice if it's very clear and there's no obstructions, but you'll come across easements with big flower beds, landscaping, probably sheds. Will that impact your construction at all?
That doesn't happen.
I've never seen that once.
That's when the calls will come in.
No, of course. And look, I have a lot of autonomy on the ground level to be able to adjust our design to what's real in the field. Everything looks wide open from 30,000 feet in the air. But when you really get down there, that twig from 30,000 feet could be a whole line of bushes, hedges, prize flowers, whatever it may be. And that's really why we start off the building of these areas with that level of communication. We invite those critiques in, like, okay, I know you're coming, but I've got a Rottweiler in the backyard, a play set on this side that cost me $3,000, and a barn shed in the opposite corner. What are you going to be able to do for me? And simply stated, we can move that to the backside of a fence. We can move that potentially to some more open space in a neighbor's yard. Push come to shove, if there's literally nothing available there, that's a phone call from me to Dan saying, hey, here's what we're seeing, here's where we have to go. I need to be able to move this roadside and be able to loop around to be able to service these customers. And I have the autonomy to be able to make those calls as necessary for residents.
And just, we had this discussion during our pre-construction, if you wanna say, in regards to before they come out, they will walk the actual job with the subcontractor, the people that are doing the pouring. So they'll know, just because the plan says, okay, point A to point B, straight line is not necessarily point A to point B with a straight line. So I just wanna reiterate that as well.
And I'll double down on that. Part of that conversation in the field with our contractors is with maps in hands, including easements. So that we don't look at a 10-foot easement with a 17-foot wide barn taking it all up and going, I'll just go 20 feet into the yard. We're not gonna do that. I will fire a contractor quicker than lickety-split for something like that. We look at those on the front end. We make sure that we have easements per our design. We make sure that we have enough space within permitted right-of-way to be able to run with roadside designs. And we check those on the front end as best we can and make those corrections on the front end before we ever get out there.
Dan, we get questions periodically. I don't know that all the residents really understand what an easement is. Could you give 10 seconds on,
Sure, and again, what an easement is typically reserved for utilities. So when your subdivision was created, there is what's referred to as a plan of subdivision that all municipalities, government agencies typically have. Within that plan of subdivision, there's language in there that's referred to as an easement. That easement language basically gives the right to ComEd, AT&T, utilities, NICOR, in this case, it will be Metronet, and whoever else comes in. It gives them the right to be in that place. Now, an easement is still part of your property. So, there's different types of easements. Basically, There's two of them, utility and/or a drainage. Those are the two most basic ones. The city of Darien, for example, has certain easements that are dedicated through this plat of subdivision during its, when it began. So a lot of times we don't have easements, but utility companies may have an easement. How wide are they? They range from 5 to 10 feet up to 20 feet on your property. Your plat of survey typically tells you where your easement is or identifies an easement. There's side yard easements too, besides rear yard, but I won't go into that. Same concept, so hopefully everyone can understand it.
I guess it's a stupid question, but why wouldn't you just always go from the front off the street? And have all, I mean, because that's an easement, right? From the
That's a right of
sidewalk
way.
to the street is,
That's a right of way.
but to do that, then I'm not worrying about anybody's backyards, I'm not worrying about anybody's sheds, I'm not worrying
No,
about
but-
anybody's fences, because from, at least from your front yard, that's pretty open to go back to somebody's house. I mean, why wouldn't you just use from the street to run all this instead of going through the backyards?
The
I mean,
next company's gonna be doing exactly what you say, but I'll let you comment.
yeah, why wouldn't you, I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer, but you guys are the experts.
Because we come through and we get locates if we're building in the front and there is water, stormwater, gas, maybe something crossing over that right in the middle of a driveway or offset from a driveway or under a sidewalk. Now we're blowing concrete panels. We're blowing up driveways to be able to install the infrastructure. It is slower, it is more expensive, it is a radical inconvenience to the homeowner and the city. I can't do concrete in 2 days. I can fix
Well, if you're
softscape
boring
in
underneath,
24
I thought
hours.
you would just go underneath all that stuff.
Yeah, well, we're required by law to pothole. So if we're in the front and we have to cross over literally anything that may be in the front or roadside, we are required by law to put a hole in the ground or blow a panel, dig down or vac truck down to the lowest existing utility plus our depth. So if we identify, say, gas at 36 inches and our typical drilling operation is anywhere from 18 to 24, now we have to go down not only that 36, but we have to continue down another 12 to 18 inches underneath that to be able to locate it. Watch the drill head pass by with a locator out front to be able to make that happen. And God forbid that's in the middle of a driveway, and now all of a sudden homeowner has a hole in the driveway, the whole panel is blown, that they're down to maybe just gravel until we can get a concrete truck back out there. And of course then that also invites in this concrete panel isn't the same color as all of my other panels, conversations and that they get messy, they get expensive, and they're risky.
Makes sense.
One of our biggest focuses is residents. We want as little disturbance as possible. And by going through the back, it also covers both sides of the street. If the houses are back to back,
Yeah.
now it means I'm not disturbing both sides of
Yeah.
that. I'm not taking the chance of cracking someone's driveway panel.
Sure, makes sense, thank you.
That's frustrating.
Will you do all the infrastructure before hooking up houses? Or do you do it along the way?
Good question.
No, great question. So we build out the infrastructure, and then we have teams come in and blow in the fiber.
So it's a separate thing. So if you're working out there, people shouldn't run out and say, hey, I really want it, can you bring it to my house?
Yeah, correct. Not at that time, but you see us back there pulling fiber, we're close.
And if you saw those little yellow squares or polygons that I had on that map of Findlay, Ohio, that's how Scott's team kind of views those, right? And that LCP is what we call our local convergence points, the old fiber acronym. That LCP, when he's done with that, they'll light that one up. Then they'll move to the next. So residents will be able to get service right when they're done with their portion of that community. And then we'll move to the next and we'll light that one up and move to the next. That way residents can start getting service. And we love that. Most of our cities love that because it turns from why are these people here to holy cow, my neighbor got it and they love it. When can I
And
get
you'll be
it?
soliciting while you're building the infrastructure.
Shortly after, yes. Once he's got to get a little bit of a headway in, and then our marketing team will come through and they'll do some mailers to try to educate people who we are. Once it's lit up, then at that point, we have door-to-door teams that will help educate people that want us to be there in front of them, talking face to face.
Do you guys have to use any of those plastic tubes that are like 3 foot tall with a big orange thing on the top?
Then, so the fiber markers?
Yeah.
Yes, and, we can if requested. Typically, we do not. I like to utilize those really only at DOT crossings to be able to mark our takeoffs on either side of a tollway or a highway. Just to mark where we are before we
I'd
make
like
that
to
shot.
take the one off of my corner.
Well, that was gonna be my question. Do you want them or do you
No,
not?
No.
Okay, good. We won't add
I don't
another.
want any more.
I have had the rare homeowner who has wanted one in their backyard
Oh,
to clearly
gosh.
mark it.
I'd love to have that gone.
So,
I
yeah.
said rare. It is.
And if a resident asks us to take them out, I mean, as long as we're able to.
Yeah, well, I mean, by default, we don't really put them in.
Yeah.
Per our spec, we're really supposed to have those every so often with our ring build, but what we found is that frankly, people hate them. And they don't do us any good. We run a tracer wire that we can find our infrastructure from box to box, just with for lack of a better term, a metal detector, and we can trace out our build. So we don't really need them. The only time I like to have them is really if we're doing a highway crossing, and we'll have a couple really on the Woodridge at 355 side here.
Okay. And one more question. The router that you provide, if my house has got a Comcast router, but I'm running all my TVs and thermostat and cameras off of Wi-Fi, you can still do that through your system.
Yep.
You'll just use the Wi-Fi in your house. You don't have to put Cat 6 all through the house if you don't have it.
Yeah, and residents can use our router if they want. It is a Euro Pro 6 that we use, so it's a really nice router that can mesh
Mhm.
with others, right? But some people have their own that they bought, especially our gamers typically have these
Yeah.
very, very expensive ones. They can absolutely use those. They do not have to use ours, so.
Anything else for these gentlemen?
He kind of stole my question, but the router that comes, if you purchase it, it is powerful enough, I don't know if that's the right term, to houses are the size of ours in our neighborhoods. You don't have issues with, the router came in on the north side of the property on the side, I have a booster right now when I'm using, and I don't know if I need it, but I work upstairs, so I wanna make sure I never lose it. Is there a booster or anything like that in the event where someone is working from home and they're really paranoid about
Give you kind of a
not
twofold.
losing it?
Kind of a twofold on that. So my house isn't super big, but I have a second one. The reason I have a second one is because I wanted to hardline my PC. And so what's nice is we use the Euro Pros, which is a mesh system, meaning that it looks at two devices as one. Instead of having multiple boosters, can have some small issues communicating back and forth. The mesh system is meant to feel like one unit. You can put as many of those things in the home as you want. We recommend not doing that. We recommend doing it to what your coverage is needed. Otherwise, it's just overkill in the house. In most cases, our Euro Pro will work just fine. I used it in my house about 2,700 square feet, and it worked flawlessly from top to bottom, down into the basement, all the way up to the second floor. I added the second again because it's nice, where I was able, with it being a mesh system, I literally can hardline right out of that into my own PC. I speed tested the other day, I'm on a gig service, and wirelessly, I was getting about 600. Out of my hardline device, I was getting 800. So, and that's with a ton of devices in our house running, so from cameras to everything else, which is always drawing off of it. So the wireless, you get a pretty good service, but when you hardline even out of the mesh system, you're getting even better service, but you don't have to. 600 is more than enough in most households to operate wirelessly.
Does fiber degrade if everybody along your line is using it at the same time?
You bring up all the things I cut out of my presentation because I try to stay shorter. But I love your questions. It's like I asked you to ask them. No, and that's one of the great things about fiber, is fiber operates on light. I'm gonna ask him to help me because when I started, we used a system that split the light into 12 beams. Those 12 beams were then eight homes. We left a few of those lines in case there was a problem and we could switch somebody to a different port. That line is your line. Your blue, your green, your purple, your red, right? That color isn't interrupted by anybody else except for all the service coming out of your home. That's it. Do we now have the system that splits it even more colors? I can't think.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, I think somebody told me, and I grab onto the information, then it gets lost up here. But now there's a system that splits that color into multiple upon multiples. But it's how we can keep growing without running into that problem of, hey, it's degrading because I'm at
I'm at the end of the line.
You got it. And that was my frustration. Where I live in Plano, Illinois now, if you know where that's at. And where I'm at the very end of the line, very end. So on my 150 I got 10 at night. Now during the day when my wife was home, she was getting 110, 120 religiously. But the minute everybody got home, it just sucked all the data out of that network. And then I'm at the end, so I get whatever's left. With fiber, you don't have that. The minute I switched, we stopped all of our problems, so.
When might people get that introductory letter? When might we see those in our mailboxes?
Introductory letter, as in the first letter that we'll send out. We typically will speed up the first one because once we get a permit, we don't have maybe 45 days. And so Scott will look at taking that letter and getting out as soon as possible. We'll follow that the next week with a postcard and then the yard dart shortly after that. In that first area when we're ready to go. After that, the 30 to 45 days, then the 7 to 10 days for the postcard, and then 3 to 5 days for the yard markers. That's before construction starts. I like to try to preference that. Had somebody kind of get that one confused, thinking that the minute those come out, we're going to start. We're going to start in this part of the neighborhood, but we still got some days to get to that back side of the neighborhood. So when we do those mailers, it's kind of saying, hey, if we were to get a permit out tomorrow, we would be looking at
2 to 3 weeks before drill head is on the ground, 1 week before mailers, after the permit would be issued. So the mailers would start pretty promptly on about a 7-day window. Postcards would be as soon as the end of that same week or the beginning of the week after, with yard dart signs going down and end of week 2, and those are minimum. That is as fast as I'm able to move on that.
so
Dan, people are gonna have a lot of questions still regarding this, and one of those questions is gonna be their backyards and their flowers and their bushes and stuff. We're gonna be prepared, will we have the information that we could give them? You know, they're gonna call the mayor, or they're gonna complain about their backyard, or they're gonna have a question about their backyard. Do we have something we can read to them or give to them?
The simple answer is yes, depends what the question is. It might be a little more complicated because meaning MetroNet, will have to go out there to make sure that the path is defined to be able to avoid whether it's the $3,000 play set, or it's the flower garden, or it's the row of bushes. So the answer is yes.
Okay,
And we want the residents to reach us because we're able to take care of them the fastest. And so Dan and I and Scott have talked, and they know that they have a quick, easy fire and forget response with us, meaning they have our cell phone numbers. They can call us, text us at any point in time. And gosh dang it, I'll guarantee them right now that we'll have a response to that resident same day the minute that happens. And that would go the same for any one of you. Any of your constituents reach out to you, you should have my business card that has my direct cell phone along with my email address. Whatever's easiest for you, you pick up the phone, you text me, you email me. I guarantee you if I'm in a meeting, as soon as I'm done with that meeting, I'll be reaching right back out to you and make sure that residents take care of it. The other thing we do have is a city relations manager. Her name is Shannon Brockett. She's not here, but she's already communicated a little bit with the communication team to make sure that they've got everything they could use and need for the website, for people answering the phone, to be able to know what to say to them and how to respond to them. We will continue to do that as much and as often as they would like us to do it. So we want to support you guys infinitely. So however you think we can best support you, that's what we want to do.
And just for our residents out there, this has been on Direct Connect as a precursor that MetroNet is coming, so we're gonna start playing it again as the notices go out. And I think the most important thing is, and you guys hit it, was that they're gonna have identification badges, as well as all the trucks will be marked. Again, whoever's has a sense of insecurity, just call 911. That's probably the easiest way to put it.
But didn't you say we're gonna hear from somebody else too, though?
That's coming up in another
company.
Yeah.
Another company's coming.
But all
in.
this can't happen till they come in and present, right?
No, they're ready to, they were the first ones in, they're gonna be the first ones out, so the permit is basically ready to go January of 2026, just kidding. No, but
So why are we
it's
hearing
ready
from,
to
wait,
go.
so why are we hearing from another company? What?
It's called competition.
Well, they came way later, right, Dan?
Right,
Yeah, they came later with the proposal.
So we wanna have somebody else doing the same thing?
yes, except I'll be in the front.
Well, Dan, it's not a matter of really what we want, right? In an
Exactly.
industry like this,
This is nothing that we can, deny. These utilities have the right, and again, it's been vetted through case law, FCC. So, we don't have an opportunity to tell them no unless there was major deficiencies.
Well, I thought we were gonna choose between them and.
No.
Can't.
Although maybe when they find out that MetroNet's coming in, maybe they'll say no. That could be their choice.
That's what I'm banking on, but, again, so I haven't seen that yet.
We're gonna do it fast and clean.
All right, I'm going to thank you for your presentation tonight. And I think you answered a lot of questions I had, and we look forward to having you in Darien.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Coming around is Ben's, our business card, so again, please feel free to reach out to him if there's questions or concerns.
I'll be staying, so if you guys have any questions you wanna ask me afterwards as well, I'll be here to get.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, moving on. We have the city clerk's report, Joanne.
I have one item. Darien city offices will be closed on Friday, April 18th, in observance of Good Friday.
Okay. City administrator's report, Brian.
no report, Mayor. Thank you.
That takes us to department head information questions. Chief, we have an annual report 2024.
We do.
Ben, now you're gonna understand why we're a safe neighborhood.
That's right.
Now you're gonna understand why we're a safe neighborhood. Nice place to live.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Alderman, staff, those members of the public here and home. So tonight, as the Mayor said, is the presentation of the 2024 annual report as put together by the police department. So we'll talk about a number of different issues. I think for most people, top of mind is about police operations, obviously public safety, so we'll get started right away. If you want to look at pages 3 through 6 of the annual report, that's where you're going to find crime. It's probably the most important chart of the evening is what crime is occurring in the city of Darien. So it goes back to 1996. As explained last time, there's a difference in methodology from 1933-ish or back in the 30s. Crime was counted by Uniform Crime Reports, UCR. And then several years ago, changed to NIBRS, National Incident-Based Reporting System. And that made a lot of changes to how we count crime. And so you really can't compare the two. So I put those two on one slide. And the basic thing to look at is the downward trend. So we've been on a downward trend for a long period of time. We were flat until probably about 2015. There was a spike in 2015 and changes ever since. Crashes. Obviously, the public wants to be safe when they drive as well. We had a huge dip in 2020, COVID, a lot of people weren't required to or weren't allowed to go to work, and so there was a lot less traffic. And then we had an upward trend after that, and fairly flat measurement on driving safety. Concerns, these are ideas and issues that come to usually yourselves, the aldermen, regarding speeding in the neighborhood, running a stop sign in the neighborhood, passing a school bus in the neighborhood, all those different types of things. And we have software that we use, and we put it into what's called a directed response. And then those officers that work that shift that the incident's occurring on within that geographic area of assignment, they know what to go out there and they'll work those cases. Again, there's a lot of them. I think last year we had well over 50 of them, and this is just an example of what they look like in the, I was trying to find my page reference. In the annual report, it's they're all listed there, and you can. So if you have a constituent that has an issue at a certain location, you can say the police were up there 48 times. They wrote 0 tickets and saw no violations, or they wrote several violations, whatever the case may be. Calls for service. Everything starts with typically citizen-generated issues start with a call to 911. Or a 10-digit dial. We like to refer people to use the 911 system, even for non-emergencies, which is fine. Technically, the call goes into the same dispatch area. So go ahead and use those. So the first chart is calls for service. I think there was over 7,000 911 calls or non-emergency calls into the 911 center that then dispatched a police car or multiple police cars and any other emergency service that we needed, ambulance or fire truck, those type of things. And you can see by the chart what we go to most frequently and to less frequently. Next chart was on calls for service that an officer initiates. So when an officer makes a traffic stop, and that's typically, and it is, the most type of officer-initiated activity that gets in as a call for service. So you'll see those types of incidents that an officer has initiated. During his or her shift, there was over 6,000 officer-initiated calls for service. At the police committee meeting, there was a question about vacation watches. I think it's at the end of concerns. It lists those, and I forget what I asked. It was almost 3,000 vacation watches, those type of things. There's a lot of things that don't get put on here. Vacation watches is one of those. We don't have them call in to 911 and create a call and do all these different types of things. Same thing with directed patrol. Those just go right on the directed patrol list, and we handle it those ways. A lot of community engagement things. We were very proactive with trying a number of different things and to try to get with the community about different types of things. St. Baldrick's, Cop on Top, Safety Village, National Night Out, Coffee with a Cop, all these different types of things. Officers typically volunteer those hours. So they're not being paid, and but they are being part of the community and giving back to those community in a number of different ways. Partnerships, small agency, can't talk about partnerships enough. You'll see those on pages 17 through 19 of the annual report. Great partnerships with the DEA task force. UCOM, which we talked about already, dispatching and handling over 13,000 of our calls for service. DUMEG is the DuPage Metropolitan Enforcement Group that takes care of drug issues and other issues. Again, it would be impossible for an agency our size to do all these different things without the assistance from these different county-wide organizations. Merit, there's a number of different organizations within Merit. SWAT team, negotiators team, canine teams, major crash teams, major investigation teams, drone teams, it goes on and on. We participate with those agencies as well, so it's shared resources, which just makes a lot of sense. It's a lot cheaper for us, and we actually have that ability to use those services. And the Children's Center, which is important for investigations of offenses against children. Switching over from operations to administration. Discipline is an important aspect. A lot of people have seen bad videos on their television set and have these opinions of the police. So we have no problem with airing our dirty laundry. The citizens complained about police services 6 times, and in 6 incidences, they were investigated and found to be unfounded. Unfounded means that whatever they're complaining about never occurred. And so that's a good thing for us, especially when we had, again, over 13,000 calls, wrote over 5,000 traffic tickets, and made over 400 arrests. They have have 6 citizen complaints, but all of them be unfounded. Use of force, we don't wait for somebody to complain about a use of force. We automatically investigate all uses of force, whether it's reported or not. And the officers have to self-report those, and we put them into a piece of software. Goes to the deputy chief. The deputy chief assigns a sergeant to investigate those, and so they're all investigated. And all the, I believe we had 14 incidences of force used involving 28 officers. In all of those situations, each one of those 28 officers' actions were found to be in compliance with state law as well as policy of the police department. There was a number of things that were added into use of force by the Safety Act, duty to render aid, duty to intervene, different things, duty to report. And in all those situations, 14 situations involving 28 officers, every time the officer's performance was in compliance. Also lists what was used. 28 times officers used verbal skills and empty hand control tactics to try to remedy the situation. 3 times a taser was pulled and targeted, so it's actually pointed at the individual, but not discharged. In 1 situation it was discharged. 2 situations the firearm was pulled, but did not fire their weapon. Training, I was involved in training for lots and lots of years as a field training officer, then running a field training or running a training program, so training is near and dear to me. We started a 40-hour continuing education program in Darien Police Department. Firearms, defensive tactics, high-risk traffic stops, hate crime investigation, use of authority, and procedural justice were the topics in that 40-hour training program in 2024. 4,633 training hours were attended by our personnel. 776 courses of instruction were attended. Building equipment and fleet. I think it's important that taxpayers understand where their money is going and the results of that expenditure. So obviously at the very beginning you saw how crime's down and traffic's flat, concerns are being addressed, all those different types of things. Earlier in 2024, we came to you with an idea to purchase drones, and they were purchased and made activated. License plate recognition software has been loaded in 10 intersections within the city. And then we purchased patrol and administrative cars in 2024. So it was a big year and a big expense year. But those cars were also used for 6 years, so it does have a depreciation and long-term use of those devices. The organization, last year we asked for and received 2 additional officers, and so the organization changed that way. In this budget year 2025, we asked for and we're working towards a social worker, so the social worker will be added to the organization for 2025. And so pretty quick, but you've had the report, 20-some pages long, and so if you have any questions, whether it's over the annual report or any questions about law enforcement, policing,
Thanks, Chief. Couple questions and comments. One, I was gonna actually commend you guys on the discipline, because the packet said that out of the 6, 5 were unfounded, and 1 was still under investigation, so that one's been cleared now?
correct.
Okay, because
It probably came in late in December and we
Okay, 'cause
finished
I'm-
it up. I
right.
can't go backwards and change the annual report, so I just do it in the.
Gotcha, okay, because it still said 1, I mean, it's fantastic for all the calls you guys make to only have that. Couple of things. I did notice the crashes on 83rd and Lamont went from like 9 to 26. I mean, most of them were like up a couple, down a couple, but that one just went like, 3 times more year over year. Is there something we can do at that intersection to help?
Not that I know of. A lot
Yeah.
of times when you see those spikes, it's always typically around a change in the configuration of the intersection or construction. Neither one of those 2 things happened, so we
There
have to
was
see what's
a
going
lot of
on.
construction there, yeah.
Just so you know, DuPage County has been working on a plan probably for about 4 years now. So we're still in the process of some acquisitions in regards to redoing Lamont Road. And 83rd Street particularly, some of it was taken over of some of the private property at Speedway for additional lanes. So again, that still hasn't been vetted yet, but
Okay,
couldn't tell you when it's gonna become.
just kind of stood out.
And that's interesting too, on the flip side.
Yep.
You went through the process of putting a traffic light up at Clarendon Hills Road and 67th.
0.
So now it's 0, so it doesn't even make the list, so.
Yeah, I read that, that was great. And
Doesn't
last-
always fix a problem, but in this particular case, did you have?
I was gonna just make a comment, the old CVS has been empty for quite a while, and now it's got another business in there. Could that be a contributing factor to the maybe more traffic on that corner?
It's possible, we have to look at the,
Cause there was nothing in there for
we have to look
how
at
many
that
years?
intersection to see what's going on.
That's just open though, like November?
And then Chief, I know I asked earlier, Brian got you some information on the, I'm having some really issues with a chronic overnight parking. And makes it worse because it's a commercial vehicle that just, so I know you sent some numbers today of, we do, we do.
One of the cars you can call 911, but I sent you the numbers. There was almost 600 citations written in 2023, almost 300 in 2024, and we have already 100 violations written this year for overnight parking. So it does get enforced. In this particular case that you're referring to, is a tow truck that by most policies, we have the same policy. They have to be to the scene within 20 minutes. So he has trouble parking someplace else, getting to that other place, go in, make the tow within 20 minutes and then get back for whatever. So we're trying to look at some alternative places where he can lawfully park and get off the street.
Right, because I mean, it creates a real blind spot on that corner. I mean,
Creates a blind spot on the corner, and problem is the way that the statute's written. I know that's up for discussion later, and we'll go into
we
more.
want to
of
address
detail,
that, exactly.
Parking enforcement and what needs to change in order to deal with that via enforcement. Again, I would prefer not to have to deal with it through enforcement, just find him a place that he can lawfully park and get to the scene that he needs to get to.
And then lastly, do we have anything on ordinances or in terms of like the scooters and,
No,
Off,
it just happens to be that we're required to do some continuing ed. This month's continuing ed, this April, was on scooters, motorcycles, mopeds, all those
Dirt
different types of things.
bikes. Yeah.
So I think I have it for, I always get messed up. So April monthly report, which is really reporting January through March. So April report, I'm gonna put in a whole bunch of stuff about that, what has to happen.
Because I know Burr Ridge just put through something. I mean, I don't want to ban them, but at the same time, I want people to at least wear helmets, abide by some of the rules, register them.
You can't do, and one of them is helmets. Helmets is not required by the state. You can't, even though your home rule, you can't require helmets.
I mean, I literally, coming here today, I had one on Nantucket blow through the stop sign. I mean, it's.
Now,
it's
those
kinda-
are odd things too, because depending on the size and different things, it's sometimes referred to as a pedestrian, even though they're on two wheels. And sometimes, depending on the size and the age of the person riding the device, they can consider it a vehicle and have to be on the roadway. So there's a lot of complications to the whole scooter and motorized bikes and all
A
those
lot of
other things.
complaints.
So my plan was to write a whole summary up about that, using all the scenarios that they used in the training in that report. And then
Can't
they will
forget.
have a little bit more knowledge about what you can and may want to do in order to decide whether you want to limit them in some manner, ban them in some manner, not do anything, whatever your choice is. But at least you're making an informed decision. So my hope is to have that available for
So do we have rules now, regulations now, on where they can ride and all that?
the city of Darien does not, but the Illinois statute, yes.
Yeah, I think we need to start looking at
Yeah,
what we're gonna allow where,
I agree.
because
That's
it's
totally-
getting to be a real problem,
Yeah,
That's
it's a
totally
major
up to
problem in my ward too.
and some of them are respectful, but some of the people on the bikes, they're just disrespectful. I mean, we had signs put up in Pinewood Park and over the weekend, they just rode over them. So now I put them by trees and by,
I chased one home last year.
because they don't have a license plate, you can't at least get a license plate and know who they are. By the time you
Again,
guys come,
depending
you
on the
guys are
size
great.
of the,
Right.
device and the use of the device will tell you whether or not they're required to have registration. Those are all, and I doubt that you're gonna get to a registration as an ordinance, but again, that information will
Maybe
come
something we
out,
need to look at,
and
because
you
it's getting to be a
can
real
make an
problem.
informed decision based on what the current
Basic
statutes
principle.
are.
Yeah, thanks, chief, because it's just getting to be a real
It's
hassle.
gonna be another problem this year, I guarantee you.
Any other questions for Chief Thomas? If you go through the report, and there's a lot of detail here in this report, and you have any questions, make sure you give the chief a call. I'm sure he'll be able to answer your questions for you. Any questions for Mr. Gombeck from Municipal Services? Or Dan, anything you want to add?
Oh, that's it for this evening.
Just a comment, Dan, after the last rain, we have Pinewood Park, which is a big retention area. And you guys, after that big flood and everything was there, I want to commend your guys for coming out the next day and cleaning, because that's the bottleneck. I mean, if that area isn't clear, it just backs up everything upstream into neighborhoods and backyards. So I just want to make a comment that you guys were on it first thing the next morning, cleared out that whole area, so just kudos to that.
All right, we move on to the treasurer's report. Mike, warrant 24, 25, 22.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this evening I'm requesting council's approval of warrant number 24, 25, 22, the amount of $488,822.29 from the listed funds, payroll for the period ended March 6th, and the amount of $345,191.71. Total be approved, $834,014.
Motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, second by Alderman Shower. Any questions regarding the warrant? None, the roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
That warrant's been approved. Warrant 242523, Mike.
Requesting council's approval of 242523 in the amount of $175,185.57 from the listed funds, as well as the 2 payrolls for March 20th, 25 and for April 3rd of 25 in the amount of $643,997.24 for a total to be approved of $819,182.81.
Motion to approve, Alderman Stompanato, seconded by Alderman Belzak. Again, any questions or comments? None, the roll.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Leganski.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
Warrant's been approved, and now we have the monthly report.
Okay, the monthly report for the 10 months ended February 28th, 25. General fund reflects year-to-date revenue of $17,204,332, expenses of $14,427,339, current balance $7,757,217. Water and water depreciation funds year-to-date revenue $6,573,798, expenses of $6,862,548, current balance $3,437,213. Motor fuel tax fund year-to-date revenue of $866,206, expenses of $1,985,982, current balance $567,231, and capital improvement fund year-to-date revenue $701,106, expenses of $756,686, current balance $18,965,873.
Any questions for Michael on the monthly report? If not, we move on to standing committee reports. Do the chairs have any reports? Alderman Belzak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next Municipal Services Committee meeting will be on Monday, April 28th at 5:30 in council chambers.
Thank you. Ralph?
This evening, the police committee met in the police training room, and our next meeting is scheduled for May 19th, pending agenda items.
Thank you. Ted?
Hey, Mr. Mayor, today we had admin and finance meeting and the minutes were approved, and our next admin and finance meeting should be Monday, May 5th, I believe.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. It takes us to questions and comments, agenda related. Anybody have any questions in the audience regarding our agenda? If not, we move to old business. There being no old business, we move to the consent agenda. Bear with me. Item A, consideration of a motion to approve the annual 4th of July parade on Thursday, July 4th, 2025, beginning at 9:30 a.m., sponsored by the Darien Lions Club. And the notes there, where the traffic control is going to take place, what areas need to be closed. It's going to start from the Jewel parking lot, south on Cass Avenue to 71st, east on 71st to Clarendon Hills Road, and south on Clarendon Hills Road to Hinsdale South High School. Item B, consideration of motion approving the Darien Youth Club and Darien Lions Club on the opening day parade for the Darien Youth Club. And this is for waiving the police department expenses. Item C, consideration of a motion authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Windy City Amusements dated March 17, 2025 to provide amusement rides and attractions commencing on May 23rd, 2025 and ending May 26, 2025 for the Darien Memorial Day Bash held at Chestnut Court. Item D, consideration of a motion to approve the release of executive session minutes that no longer require confidentiality. Item E, consideration of a motion accepting a proposal from Steve Piper and Sons Incorporated for tub grinding services in the amount not to exceed $6,500. Item F, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property owned by the city of Darien. Item G, consideration of a motion to approve a motion authorizing the extension of a proposal from Sprinklers Incorporated for the spring startup and winter shutdown maintenance and backflow prevention testing of city-owned irrigation systems and potable water backflow preventers as per the schedule of unit prices. Item H, consideration of a motion to approve the waiving of the competitive bid process and accepting proposal from Mosca Design for the purchase of holiday lighting and decorative displays at a cost not to exceed $35,000. Item A, consideration of a motion to approve accepting the extension of a proposal at the unit price for sidewalk grinding from Hard Rock Concrete Cutters Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $250,000. Item J, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance amending Title 5A zoning regulation of the Darien City Code, PZC 2025-02, short-term rental ordinance update. Item K, consideration of a motion to approve amending the policy for advertising on the marquee sign which is at the southwest corner of Cass and Plainfield Road. Item L, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance approving a master license agreement with Metro Fiber.LLC LLC for the use of city's right-of-ways for installation, operation, and maintenance of telecommunication activities. And item M, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the city's Fire and Police Commission to amend its rules to allow for the selection of new police hires from among the top 3 candidates on an eligibility list. Motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, second by Alderman Stompanato, and the roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Shower. Legansky.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
The consent agenda has been approved. That takes us to new business. Item A, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance approving the 2025-2026 budget. Motion to approve. Alderman Gustafson, seconded by Alderman Shower. Any questions or comments? Mr. Legansky.
Thank you, Mayor. Mary Sullivan, who chaired the budget process, couldn't be here tonight, so I know she let you and Brian know that she asked me just to read a statement on her behalf. And she says, I apologize for not being at the meeting tonight. I want to thank the city staff, department directors, Gombach, Padlick, and Chief Thomas for assembling an excellent budget in cooperation with Administrator Vanna, Treasurer Korn, and Mayor Marquez. A special thank you to Lisa Clem and Julie Sains for their additional work. Many, many hours were spent researching and assembling the budget prior to the city council reviewing and discussing in our budget workshops. I am proud of the work our city staff and elected officials continue to provide the residents of Darien, fiscally responsible and sound financially.
Thank
Signed,
you.
Mary Sullivan.
Anyone else? If not, in the roll.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
2025-2026 budget has been approved. Item B, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance amending section 6C-4-7 of the Darien City Code regarding water consumption charges. Motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, seconded by Alderman Stompanato. And again, any questions or comments?
Yeah, Dan, now the increase, what is the increase due to? Is it just for potential charges that might come down the chute?
No, Brian, go ahead, I believe it's at your committee this
Well, in the original draft budget, I presented alternative if the city continued with the current water rate. And the issue there was typically in the year 3 of the fund balance there, it gets you down to about 30 days reserve, which is not recommended. So this is really, this increase, which it's been a while, I think 2016, since the water rate was increased at all. So in order to sustain, the water fund, we would need an increase. And this is really primarily more for operations, equipment, things like that, whatever you might see in the budget. If the city were to come across a project, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, or something like we did several years ago when all the water meters were changed out. This does not cover any types of capital projects like that. This is really in operations, again, to keep the reserves
But
at a
DuPage
safe
County's
balance.
not increasing rates at all, right?
They increase,
Or are they increasing what we're paying?
slightly, I don't remember the exact number. And it's a large,
DuPage Water
DuPage,
DuPage Water.
DuPage Water.
Yeah, they increased slightly. I don't remember the actual amount. It was in the numbers. But again, we've been able to, the water fund's been able to operate on continually using fund balance on the bond issue that was issued when Dan did significant projects with the water meters, and there's a few others I can't even think of offhand. So it really covers the operations and everything you would see in the water budget for this year and also for 2 years looking out.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions? Down the roll?
Belzak,
Aye.
Stompanato,
Aye.
Shower,
Aye.
Leganski,
Aye.
Gustafson.
No.
4 ayes, 1 nay, and 2 absent.
Item's been approved. Item C, consideration of a motion directing staff to prepare an ordinance amending various sections of city code relating to commercial vehicles and parking restrictions throughout the city. Motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, second by Alderman Stompanato. And again, discussion.
Mayor.
Jerry?
No, thank you, Mayor. Like we mentioned earlier, this talks about just commercial vehicles on private property. So I do think we need to look at a lot of the other ordinances we have on where commercial vehicles can park on public streets as well. So can that be included in here, or does that have to be something separate?
I'll let the chief, he's looking.
We don't need a motion to deal with parking on the street. Dan needs it for zoning. So we'll fix 9.3 like we talked a few minutes ago.
Right.
But we don't have to have a permission from you to go do that. We need, we'll bring that together as a ordinance.
Got it. Because I know there's like some gray areas now, because it only talks about intersections that maybe have a yield sign or a stop sign or a crosswalk. So we're trying to
Right, the
get that a little.
definition of crosswalk's not there, so, in the state statute it does, but it doesn't exist here. There's a number of different things, so first, every violation is the same cost, so, multiple times, if they fail to pay, there's no increase in the fine, it's still, so you're doing a lot of tracking down
Okay.
when there's no, increase. So there's a number of different things that need to be.
And all
changed.
that's
I got
gonna-
about
right.
4, and I just briefly read over it when Dan said, hey, we're gonna do this, so I quickly gave him a quick review saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking.
So that can all be done separate of this.
Well, it's all gonna
Fantastic.
dovetail is the bottom line.
Dovetail together.
Thank you.
But chief, yours might come quicker than Dan's, like you were saying.
Maybe.
It dovetails
I'm
in terms of
usually
it makes sense.
In a timely manner. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Oh,
Dan has a longer process by statute and by ordinance, chief.
See, now he's kidding.
You're not
the chief.
doing anything really remarkable with your timeframe.
Usually Greg, he's the one getting that.
But chief, yours, I think Jerry's asking though about commercial vehicles on public streets. Yours will address all vehicles in terms of parking and things. I'm not sure, Jerry, if,
no, 9.3 addresses all parking issues and parking violations. So those will all be looked at. Within there, there's C, D, and F, or D, E, and F, that all have to deal with commercial motor vehicles, whether it's above or below 12,000 pounds, and all these different types of things. So we don't want to define commercial motor vehicle different than what Dan defines commercial motor vehicle. So it does have to dovetail together. If Dan gives, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and he sent me a nice chart that actually had the license plate designations, what a B, size of the truck that a B plate is, a C truck plate is.
So you're on the same page with them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've been working.
Okay, because I know there was some, because the way they used to do it by license plates, it's kind of changed now. You really can't go by that as much, I was told.
It's antiquated, there's been some
Right.
additional, with the EVs, different
Sure.
trucks, blah, blah, blah. So it's just antiquated, it's just time to overhaul to a point.
Dan, what are your thoughts on, let's just say somebody has they have a plumbing company and they have a work truck, maybe they work for somebody. How will that be addressed in the, how do you anticipate if you've thought through that one yet?
Yes, at this point, number one, it's gonna be size. Number two, from a zoning standpoint, both zoning standpoints, the size, and number two, one vehicle per household for a commercial / business.
And that's how it is now, it's 12,000, you can have one vehicle that's under 12,000 pounds, so, you know, if somebody has a pickup truck that he uses for dealing with that, they can park there. But you can't have 4 of that plumbing, trucks sitting there, you know? And you can't have one that's over 12,000.
And some things are, you know, well-defined, others need some massaging, updating.
Okay,
Thanks.
anything else? Let's have the roll.
Bellzak,
Aye.
Stompanato,
Aye.
Schauber,
Aye.
Gustafson,
Aye.
Leganski.
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
The item has been approved. Takes us to questions and comments, announcements of a general nature. Any of the aldermen that have anything they'd like to share? I have a few items, but I'll wait to see if you have anything first. Okay, last week I had an opportunity to attend a business expo at Oak Brook Hills. The Darien Business Alliance was one of the sponsors. We had about 50 businesses that were part of the expo. It was excellent. And I was very proud that our Darien Business Alliance was one of the groups that sponsored it. That said, we have a multi-chamber event coming up, again, which we're sponsoring along with 4 other chambers. And it's coming up on May 22nd at the Delta Hotels on Kingery Highway. And it would be nice to have some of our elected officials there. The other thing is, we were asked last fall by the administration of District 86, superintendent and the president of the Board of Education met with me. And they asked us to develop an internship program for a young man and a young woman from Hinsdale South High School. And working with the administration of Hinsdale South High School, we have developed a summer internship program, which will start this summer. We'll have one young man, one young woman who will be with us for 6 weeks for about 4 hours a day, and those 4 hours could be morning or afternoon. One of those days per the week, we're gonna bring in a business individual, someone who owns a business within the city of Darien from a different business group, the food industry, maybe real estate, every week, and we're gonna have them speak to those two young people. So one of those days will be dedicated to that. The other days will be, we're gonna cover public safety, municipal services, community development, city operations, and city administration. And they will keep a log, they'll keep a journal, they'll have to make a presentation in front of you as city council, and they will be entitled to 1/2 credit at Hinsdale South High School. And this is for juniors gonna be seniors, and they have to be a Darien resident to participate. And we'll probably look forward to starting one of these programs with Downers Grove South in the future as well, because Downers Grove South serves Darien as well. It serves Eric's area. But I wanted to inform you of it. It's an excellent program. We're gonna be the ones selecting the students. Students are signing up. They'll go through interviewing the students who are interested. We'll make the final selections. And then finally, you've got your Darien Business Directory. This is the brand new 2025 edition. April and Jessica Plezak put this together. Well, they put this together. Shaw Publishing really facilitated this. And just to explain something with this booklet, the ads in this book are solicited by Shaw Publishing, not by the city of Darien. I know that some of you are looking at the last page. Shaw Publishing went to that business, not the city of Darien. We get, I think, Brian, is it 15%?
You know, I would have to check again with April, I don't recall that.
It's either 10 or 15% of the ad revenue that Shaw gets, we get. So if it's $10,000 that they sell an ad, we'll get 15% of that. So this booklet costs us nothing. This will be in the library, and one of these will be mailed to every household in the city of Darien. And senior citizens, and a lot of people like them because you have all your businesses within the city by group and alpha. So I wanted to give you just a little history on this. And it also, has stories in there about Lay School celebrating, Old Lay School, 100 years. Hinsdale South High School is gonna have their 60th anniversary, and the Darien Youth Group is gonna have 65 years, so, take a look at it. I've had a lot of people already ask me about it, but I just want to make sure the city, that you understood that this is not something we pay for, this is something we actually get revenue from. And, that's all I have. Anybody
I
else?
think that High Haven ad is extremely good. I think it's very well done. I challenge any other Darien retailer to have a nicer interior than they have.
Anything else for the good of the order? If not, I'd like to motion to adjourn. Alderman Shower, seconded by Alderman Legansky, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Ben and Metronet. Val, thanks for staying.
Metronet's here, so
Well,
thank you for your questions.